Hello, and good morning. Are we here on Facebook Live? Yes, we are. Hello, Tracy. Good morning to you. Welcome. So this is Cherry Hive. Welcome to Cherry Hive. I think there's a bit of a delay going on this app at the minute, so please bear with us. So yeah, welcome to Cherry Hive. We do 5 things on Cherry Hive. Cherry Hive's a confidence group for business women. And what I would like to say is it helps people with tools, tips, techniques, technologies, and most of all, talent. So we have a lot of fun in the group. So if you're not in the group already, come and join us. There's a lot of stuff going on in there already. It's a fairly new group, but there's a lot of engagement. So please do come and join us if you're not already in there. So part of being part of Cherry Hive and hosting Cherry Hive, the group, I also do these Facebook Lives, interviews and chat shows with talented people who have got stories to tell. They've got, backgrounds and journeys that have brought them to where they are today. And they've got loads of things that they can share to enable other people to learn from that and to implement things in their business, in their lives that can help them to be more healthy or wealthy or whatever it might be, more successful in many different kinds of ways. So I want to introduce my guest today. My guest is an expert industry expert, I would say, in hypnotherapy. She's on tradesecrets.biz as an industry expert, and she helps other hypnotherapists to become successful in their practice. She's a hypnotherapist. She's also a counsellor, and she, in her practice, uses other things like past life regression. She uses life between life therapy, and also future progression therapy, I guess, is to predict where we're going to go in the future. And she's over in BC, in Vancouver, in Canada. So awesome. So 17 hours behind me, you're in the Sunshine Coast. So this is awesome to have 2 people on 2 different days. This is the first on Cherry Hive Blossoming Confidence for Business Women. So welcome to Kemila Zsange. How are you?
Very, very well. Thank you. Thank you for inviting me.
So your day's already kind of progressed pretty well, right? You kind of, what time are you at?
It's summer just to start, right, in the northern hemisphere, and we're 6 p.m. on Tuesday.
6 p.m. on Tuesday, whereas we are just gone 11 o'clock on Wednesday. So how awesome is that? So already, we were talking about this just before we came on, how I'm already in Kemila's future. I am already able to predict her future.
Tell me future is good to go.
And it looks pretty awesome from where I am.
Good.
Yeah, so what would be great is for you to just introduce yourself. You have a beautiful accent there, which isn't all Canadian, of course. So you have a journey to tell already in terms of what brought you to Canada, maybe, and also what brought you to the journey of being a hypnotherapist.
Oh, well, you don't have 30 hours for that, do we? So, talking about the accent, that's interesting. Now, I come from China and Sichuan province, and even speaking Mandarin, I have an accent because of my dialect in Sichuan. So I basically am at this age now, I speak any language. I speak a little bit of French, a little bit Spanish, and I just can't speak any language without accent. So I call that international accent. My lovely little international accent. Yeah, you also live in different countries, right?
I have. I've not been in Australia very long, and even though I've lived in the UK for so long, people don't kind of recognise it as a Sheffield accent in the UK because I like it international. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember actually when I first came to Canada in 2002, and people asked me, "Oh, where are you from? You speak a little bit British accent." And I was like, only British people would not agree with that. So I
It is
think it's like back,
interesting. Yeah.
yeah, back to the university. I learned from British people, but it doesn't mean, for British people, I don't have British accent, but for Canadian at that time, I did.
Yeah. Yeah. So how long have you been in Canada?
About 16 years now.
Oh, okay. And
Yeah,
mostly in Vancouver, or you traveled
yeah,
around quite?
mostly in Vancouver. I did a visit all over the country and decided Vancouver would be the place for me to call home. It's closer to Asia.
So what was the reason for moving across to
Right,
Canada?
it's a passport. I love the traveling, so Chinese passport back then was useless. Still kind of
Uh,
useless now. And when I heard that you can travel, you know, over 170 countries without a visa, I got to have it. I do like
ah,
traveling.
okay. Yeah, I know you're
So
going to love
yeah,
to.
it's funny when I remember when I went to the hypnotherapy school and my instructor was saying, your accent is good enough and your English is good enough, but maybe you need to take some courses to correct the accent. I never did because I don't really like to do things I don't want to do, and uh, so I figured, this accent may not be weakness. It's maybe I can see it as a strength
Mm,
because if I speak this language with an accent, that means when I speak, you can't take it for granted. You have to
sure. Yeah.
listen.
It creates that focus, which is what you need for what we do, right?
Right?
I say that to a lot of our students because they are. I think even listening to your own voice, if you
Yeah.
a bit alien, a bit kind of looks like our video's gone off at the moment. So we'll just see if that comes back on. Let's just
Yeah, I
refresh.
lost your video and the voice for a little while.
Are we still moving? Sometimes
Yeah.
I refresh Facebook and that does the trick. So let's just have a look too.
Oh, okay.
So let's have a look.
I have you here.
Yeah, we can see each other. So I'm not sure why it's not coming. Ah, there we go. It's coming back now. That's all good.
Okay.
So yeah, where were we? Yeah, accents, about how they can actually be good instead of something which we should be thinking about as negative. And yeah, a lot of our students have to overcome that barrier of, but are they going to really understand me? Is my voice going to be good enough? Is it going to kind of get the message across that I need to? And
Right.
actually, I think that too. And I always tell them that their voice is beautiful and unique, and the very fact they have an accent means that it means people are not used to hearing it. They can't ignore it, and it brings that focus to their voice.
And that's why it can go directly to the subconscious mind.
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely correct. So you're not worried about your accent, right? It's
No,
something you're
feel it's
comfortable with.
whatever it is, right? So this isness we're dealing with. And there are two ways that I can go. I can worry about it, or I can project whatever I want out of it first.
Yeah, that's a good
So
learning, isn't it?
yeah, when I instead of worrying is a projection anyways, but it's just projection of negativity that I'm not good enough out there. But if I just choose to project whatever I choose to project out there, people tend to think about you, the way you project out to be. So that's how I, when you are confident enough, I can make a mistake, I can say the wrong words, but people think that's, I don't know, I projected, yeah, I said the wrong word, but that was cute. And people tend to say that it was really cute.
Yeah. Yeah, that's right. It's you, and there's no one like you. I always tell people you are unique. There's no one like you. So celebrate that. Celebrate that
Exactly.
uniqueness.
Exactly.
But I agree, a lot of people find it difficult, and that's why I set up Cherry Hive as well, Blossoming Confidence for Business Women, because a lot of people know what they have to do. They know how to do what they do in their business, but the point is that they're too worried about what other people think about them and how they're going to come across to other people, and don't celebrate enough about who they are and what they are and what they do and how they do it, and that is unique to them. But you can go through the same training in a training school, can't you, with all your peers, and you'll all come out doing your own style of delivery and your programs, because it's about you at the end of the day. It's about you creating that experience for your people.
Yeah, exactly. I do work with a lot of women. I see them really, really brilliant and good, and they kind of, I believe you, but then I worry about this. But again, everything is a projection over my mind. When you worry about it, people start to tend to think the way you are most afraid of. It's like so I look at them in the eyes. I said, it's hopeless how other people think about you. They always are going to think about you. Other people are not. It's like other people two words. It's not even an entity. There's no such an entity that is called the other people. They're all only individuals. There are only 7 billion people out there judging you, thinking about you. Get over it.
Yeah, and you know what? Not everybody is going to like you, right?
No.
It would be impossible to please everyone.
Yeah, like you go to YouTube, right? Even like who? Dalai Lama, Maria Teresa, they always get some thumbs down. Always. Nobody not getting it, actually.
Yeah. There's always tire kickers who are just out there to make your life miserable and make you feel negative. But it's about getting over that obstacle, isn't it? And saying, do you know what? Despite people out there saying I'm not good enough or they don't like what I do, then that just means I need to not be spending a lot of time over there. I need to be spending a time over there with people who like what I do and get me and really connect with me, rather than the people that are trying to disconnect with me all the time.
Totally, just to find the right audience. And when we find the right audience, I can only be liked when I'm authentic, when I'm me.
Yeah.
There's no point to be liked when I'm not me.
Absolutely. Yeah. What kind of things do women present to you with in terms of the psychological barriers and obstacles that they just can't overcome by themselves? So they need to come and see someone like yourself to to unblock those kind of things.
Yeah. I have Vancouver is northern Hollywood. That's what they say. There are a lot of actors here. So a lot of women, they have their body image. They are most beautiful women, but again, they don't see it that way. Also, a lot of career transitioning. I find these days a lot of people feel like they're good at what they do, but they have outgrown their own industry. They want to do something else, go somewhere else, or start their own business, but they have a lot of doubts. Basically, people who see where they are and know where they want to be, but they perceive there can be some background in the past, trauma or upbringing, and they do believe in the power of the subconscious mind. Those people would normally seek me out. We do have a lot of power in the subconscious mind, don't we?
We certainly do. It's kind of where a lot of stuff is hidden, and we can't access it very easily, can we, on a daily basis, or when we're kind of feeling stuck in some way. And it's kind of a way of accessing it without us having to even think about it. I mean, that's a good thing. You don't need to think about it to access it, do you, when you're doing what we do in hypnotherapy? Totally. It actually just brings itself to where it needs to be, and we deal with it. And we deal with it because we're more relaxed to be able to deal with it, aren't we? And, So let me... So the kind of things that we work with in terms of helping people to overcome obstacles, you use hypnotherapy, you also use counselling. So how would you choose? And you also use past life between lives, and future what do you call it? Future progression therapy?
Yeah,
Or
future life progression. Yeah.
future life progression. So how would you decide with a client in particular? How would you decide which way to go with them? Is it your choice, their choice, or is it a kind of combination between the two of you in terms of what tool you might use with which issue, kind of thing, you know?
Yeah, totally. It's a combination, definitely. They always want to, when they come in, like, I don't have agenda where you should be. It's always where you are, where you want to be. And to get where you want to be, some people up front saying there must be some hidden memory that I don't remember, I need to remember it. So if that's clearly stated to me, and of course that's where we go. Otherwise, I could be very general. Now, talking about past life regression, life between lives, I always ask this question: if I sense there's something that we might need to go back to. Some people just come in asking for it, like, I want to know if I met my ex-husband before in past life, and of course, let's just do it. So that's what they tell me what to do. But some people may have, for example, a severe fear or phobia of something, of water or height or something. Now, I might have a sense that it might be useful to go to a past life, for example. But I don't do that unless I ask them, first I ask their question, their spiritual outlook. And that's a better question than asking like religion. A lot of people even say, I don't have it, right? But still, like, what's your spiritual outlook? If they tell me they kind of, subscribe to that idea of they have been here before, and that I would present, would you be interested in, looking into your past life that might hold an answer? I don't know, but your subconscious mind certainly knows where to take us. So that's how, after we have a thorough talk, as if I tell them, this is what I see it, and their conscious mind gives me the permission to go somewhere to do it, and we will do it. For future life progression would be, mostly I want to work with people who just come to see me unless specifically they ask for it. Now, I put myself out there fully. On my website, I read about everything I do. And so there are people who already did this thorough research, and they come in and say, specifically, I want the experience that Kathy had.
Okay.
So of course, I make up names on my blog. Like, hold on, let me go on my website. Who's Kathy, right? So, that's future. You want a future. But otherwise, like today, I actually worked with a woman who's in the sales, and she's like a long-term client. She just came back to say that now she's worried about being fired for some reason. And so then I had this idea of, if you worry about your future being fired, let's just allow the subconscious mind, which doesn't know time, to take us to the future. Now, I give the suggestion to the subconscious mind, and I don't know, few hours, few days, few weeks, few months, few years, or few decades in the future. But your subconscious mind certainly knows exactly where to take us, so that we will have a idea. So, like, I figure that's a probable future anyways. But if that subconscious mind taps into that probability of that future, it could be staying in the same job, which is good, no worry about it. Which, if it's different place, so might mean being fired might be good news for you. So either way.
Yeah. And I think that's it. It's just opening up doors, isn't it, to possibilities.
Totally.
It doesn't even mean that you have to believe there is a possible future or there is even a past. It's about just using those ideas and saying, what if, let's take that kind of oppression off ourselves that we do. We kind of put all the self-limiting beliefs of what we can't do, what we're not able to do, and what we shouldn't do. Exactly. And we lift that lid and we say, do you know what, if it were an ideal world and this is what I would love to do, or this is what I've been doing before, what might that look like? How would that feel? And then you've got something else, a different path to go down, a different road to aim down, haven't you?
Exactly. So either tapping into so-called past or so-called future, it's both to have to get the resource for now, to help now in the moment how I feel.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so interesting that you get people coming for all kinds of reasons. Sometimes it's because I want to just see if I met my partner in a previous life, if that's why we connected so well together in this life.
Or that's
Sometimes,
why we connect first, and then we have the trouble. We have karmic
yeah,
debt or something.
what happened
Yeah.
back then? That's causing this rift right now in our relationship. So it's kind of that, or sometimes it's about having a stuck issue right now, and is that based somewhere in the past? Yeah, it's very interesting in terms of how you work on lots of different kind of levels,
Right.
with lots of different dynamics and possibilities, and they're all great tools. They're all fantastic tools to just open doors. It's
Right.
just
Yeah,
pretty
there are
awesome.
people who coming in for counseling only. I have a woman who she came to see me for some time, and I don't know, like on the fifth session was somehow because I think she found me because I had an article published in a health magazine about the subconscious mind and the fear and what have you. And so she came to see me for counseling sessions, and we just talk. And it's on the fifth session. I don't know what the conversation went, but then I just said I do hypnosis too. She's like, oh, no, you're not going to mess up my already messed up mind. I was like so surprised. I said, you didn't know I do hypnosis too. So,
That's
sometimes
interesting.
just talking, yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, certainly I've lived in the UK for a lot of years and taught over there too, and I've lived here for some time and teach you too. And there is still a sense of, and I think it comes. I don't know what you think, but I think it still comes from that kind of stage hypnotism kind of weirdisms, which they people believe they're going to be controlled by us, and we're going to kind of get them to disclose their most darkest, deepest secrets that has never told anyone else. Or we're going to make them do silly, embarrassing things. Do you still get that in Canada? Is that still the sensibility of people that kind of contact you? Or
Actually, I think in UK, probably generally speaking, people are more open-minded than Canada,
oh, really?
unless hypnotism. I do, yeah. I actually, one woman came to see me and she told me, before I came to see you, I told all my family and my friends that I'm going to see a hypnotherapist, and they say, "Oh, you're brave." Or someone said, "Oh, what's wrong with you?" I said,
Yeah.
maybe you should give them my card. I can work with them for the fear of being hypnotized.
Yeah. Do you struggle with that? Do you struggle with the fact that you're having to answer objections all the time? Because if you were a psychotherapist or you only did counseling, I bet you wouldn't get those kind of reactions, right?
No, it's more, psychotherapy, of course, is more mainstream accepted. Hypnotism is mostly colored by, as you said, stage hypnotism show or Hollywood, really. And I do, but everybody's entitled to believe what they believe. I have enough clients to work with who already are sold. I never attempt to sell to anyone. I don't know. Like, if you have a question, I can answer. But if you have opinion, when I go to a party, sometimes people say, "Oh, don't look at me in my eyes. That's evil." Okay, all right. I said, I charge people look in people's eyes. Never mind.
Yeah, you do still get that. It's like, when I worked in psychology, and I know a lot of my psychology peers, it's like you must know what I'm thinking right now. It's like you're a mind reader because you know a bit about psychology. It's that kind of, people are scared of the unknown, I guess, aren't they? It's the things that they don't know enough about that they're scared about. And that's kind of what we have to do, I guess, is same for you, is to educate a lot of people on. It's not something.
I just go with them. If people say that, I say, of course, I know exactly what you're thinking about. You're thinking about that I know that you are thinking about.
That's clever. You've obviously been in the business a long time, Kemila.
Yeah, once there's a guy, it's like, I bet you can't make me bark like a dog. And I was like, well, I'm from China. I certainly know Chinese dogs, how they bark like. And I know I've heard Canadian dogs barking like. Where are you from? He said, from Russia. I said, I don't know how Russian dogs bark like at all. He said, it's the same. I said, no, what do you mean by the same? What do you mean? And then he started to bark. was like, see, I just made you bark like a dog.
Oh, you see, that's clever. See, yeah, obviously a very suggestible client.
Yes.
Oh, that's awesome. Have you got any kind of any stories to tell of people who have gone into past lives and being surprised or upset by where they got to, or even very elated and surprised, like extremes emotions? Because like a lot of people, I think, go in there not knowing what's going to happen, but some people have a vision of the past, of where they could have been, and kind of have an idea of where they want to go. Right. What's your experience of people using past life in these different ways?
Yeah, so basically sometimes past life trauma can happen, and people are upset. But when you perceive that coming, of course, we're a therapist. First and foremost, we deal with emotions on different levels. And I will ask them to put that emotion somewhere else and need to process with your own best timing for that. And I will give them suggestions that to sometimes they don't have to be in body to go through that trauma in another body, just to float up as if you're watching a movie, and 3D movie from above, and you can feel safe, feel light, feel bright, but you can watch it. Just like humans, we sometimes we go to a movie theater, we spend money and time to watch a tragedy, right? So I says, this is just a movie. You can watch it, you can describe, but you feel safe. So there are different ways, but sometimes we do need to go through that. Sometimes I just quickly count from 1 to 3 to bring them over. The trauma is over. Now look back, what just happened, right? So it could be varieties of ways. But in general, I tell them, sometimes I even tell them up front, I said, just look into human history. How many good lives did we ever have, right? So it's possible. And so I tell them, is that okay? Sometimes people come to see me for curiosity, and those people I call the past life tourists. And,
okay, yeah.
So for the tourists, since you're curious, now I just set up, say, hey, let's go to good life, or what have you, since we're just tourism.
Yeah.
Set up that way.
Yeah. So sometimes you have to guide it. Sometimes you're guided by it.
Right. But sometimes they do get surprised. I remember there was a woman, again, she came to see me for a relationship. She gave me a list of all the relationships that brother, husband, and she wanted to tap into. But she went into a life that she was completely alone all her life. So that's interesting. So it's like your conscious mind has agenda, wants to know something, but sometimes your subconscious mind has another agenda. Absolutely. And at the end of the session, she was the one who said, wow, that makes sense now. Now, it didn't make sense to me because you came in with a big list of relationships and now you went to a life with, she said, no matter how much I'm surrounded by friends and family, I always feel very alone inside.
That's so insightful. That is incredibly insightful, isn't it? That she could probably would never get any other way without having done that journey into something different to find that key to that problem.
Yeah, and as being a therapist, of course, that's a moment we empower them. That's something I've done right to enable this life to be surrounded by all the loved ones, right?
That's right, because now you can move on with this life and say, look, now we've realized that you don't feel, you do feel alone. And how can we fix that? How can we do things to enable you? Or how can you do things to enable you to make you feel happier in this life?
How can you
and less alone?
Open up a little more and receive.
Yeah. And if that is about confidence, if it's about a woman's confidence of she's protecting herself in some way, or doesn't have the confidence or self-esteem to put herself out there to start new relationships, or attend networking meetings, or whatever it might be, that's the thing now you can start working on with lots of other different tools that you've got available to you.
Totally, because we can tie things together. That's what the subconscious mind does, anyways, right? Sometimes we have bad experience because we tie things together that have no business being together. But now, being a therapist, we can tie this kind of empowerment to something to take action of. Yeah.
Do you know what? The more I talk to people like you, Kemila, the more I love my job, right? Because it reminds me of how creative hypnotherapy is and how a beautiful art form it is. A science and an art form. It does both. But it just offers so many different opportunities for us as therapists in being creative with our art and our tools, but also for clients who have got so many things available to them to open those doors.
Yeah, I love it. Like sometimes when someone comes in with their own way of giving you symbols, and so it's like there's a box. I was working with someone yesterday. There's a box in my head that's stopping me from doing something. I was like, how would that someone say box in my head? Now, of course, I would be very silly if I didn't hypnotize her and go into the box and see what's in it, right?
Yeah.
So that's how she already gives me all the clues and how I can open the box up and to see what's in it. And do we need to keep it or do we need to put something else in it?
Yeah,
so
it's so imaginative. And even, I don't know about you, but even clients who come to see me and say, I don't have an imagination, I'm not creative, how that completely disappears. Well, not completely for everyone, but a lot of people find that self-limiting belief of not being creative and imaginative and being able to come up with new ideas, it kind of disappears when they're in trance, right? It allows them to be someone different, feel different things.
I would create more work for me. So I would say, do you know hypnotherapy actually can help someone be more imaginative and creative?
Yes.
Should we work on that level first?
Correct.
And someone who's like who constantly was late for appointment, I would tell them the same thing. Maybe we should work on procrastination first.
Yeah. That's right.
Yeah. So look,
it's been awesome talking to you today. I've been in the business a long time, but I still love it. I still find it fascinating and interesting, and I love hearing people's stories as well. So thanks for joining me today. And you have a special day tomorrow, right? It's the 4th of July, Independence Day. Do you celebrate it there in Canada?
I think that's American independence.
Is it? Well, I was thinking about before we came on, and I thought, 21 years ago to the day, to today, my day, 4th of July. I was in Alberta, in Banff, in the Rockies. And I was watching the parade. So back then, I don't know if they still do, but back then they certainly celebrated the 4th of July, and they had the Canadian, the Mounties up on the horses, and they had parades going through the Rockies. Because we were doing a bit of a backpacking tour around Canada in between our. It was the summer of our degree, our psychology degree, and we thought, let's go and work and play in Canada for the summer.
Wow.
So we traveled the whole way across. Yeah, it was awesome. So I worked at the Christmas shop and I worked at Safeway in Banff. So I don't know if you've ever been there, but it's awesome.
Yeah, I love Banff. Yeah, it's an international town.
Yeah, I loved it, absolutely. I can't wait to go back. But the problem was on the 4th of July, a bit of a disaster happened because I was watching the thing and suddenly I flaked out and fainted on the bench we were sat on. And then I got whipped in an ambulance to hospital. So I kind of missed the last bit of the parade, but it's always stuck in my mind. And the problem was visiting Canada at that time was my first experience of being completely allergic to mosquitoes, right? So I'd got mosquito bites on my foot and I'd been scratching them. My foot's swollen, my leg had swollen, and I didn't think anything of it. I'm living on a campsite, going to work every day in Banff, which is surreal in its own way anyways. And Yeah, and obviously the poison had caused cellulitis in my leg. So I ended up fainting, passing out, and being taken to hospital. But that always stuck in my mind. Whenever the 4th of July comes up every year, I remember that incident. So maybe I need to do something with that, right? I need to reframe that in some way. But it's not a negative. I always feel positive about it. That's the interesting thing. But it does kind of keep coming into my mind every year. So I was just wondering if you were celebrating anything tomorrow. Maybe you don't celebrate over there anymore. I'm not sure. It's 21 years since I was last over there, so I'm not sure.
Maybe there were a lot of Americans in Canada back then.
Maybe, yeah. But you do
We
live in
have like July 1st, Canada Day. That's what we generally celebrate.
okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, so maybe for the tourists, maybe.
Yeah, I'm sure, because Banff, it's like there are more international people than Canadian there.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, I'm going to put your links upon this broadcast, which is a link to your, I think your Facebook page, your website, and also to your website where you sell online tools like books and MP3s.
Yeah.
Which are great, awesome resources for people. If you're not living in Canada and you're not living particularly in Vancouver, and you can't go and see Kemila directly, you can look at some of the tools and wares that she has available, which she's invested in greatly, and some great tools that can help you, especially the past life regression book. So if anyone's interested in knowing about past life, is it more for customers or is it more for other therapists? Where is that pitched at?
It's designed for a therapist, but they're full of scripts, and people who have interest in it can just completely use it and try it with families for fun.
Awesome.
I did outline how to do that and step by step. Yeah.
Great, that's awesome. So if you're interested in doing that on yourself with your family, or just thinking you want to know a bit more about it, that's the place to go and buy Kemila's book. So this won't be the last time we see each other. I'm sure we will talk again. And it's lovely to
enjoyed
meet you.
I followed you for a long time on LinkedIn and all of those platforms. It's really nice to speak with you.
Yeah, it is. It's always good to face, isn't it? And really chat and see and hear people talk, and the accent is beautiful. So don't change it, whatever you do.
We'll see. I might pick up some Australian.
Yeah, you maybe. I'm still trying to pick some Australia up, but I'm not getting very far. You have a good evening, Kemila, and I'll talk to you very soon. All the best.
Okay, thank you. Take care.
Bye.
Bye.